and welcome back to Forever Rugby here on Forever Sports. I am your host for today. I'm Reza the Rumbler, and of course, we've got the fantastic Springbok lineup for the semi-final against, of course, this fantastic England side. I don't actually say that with much sarcasm because they are a good team. It's just been an unfortunate run of results. But the Springbok team is phenomenal. They put in a massive performance against France. And those same set of players have been rewarded with a place in the Springbok starting lineup for the semi. A lot of faith shown in them, a lot of hype sort of in the week about some possible changes coming in. Of course, Kobus Reinach was the major change that had come up beforehand going into the quarterfinals. And there was a lot of talk in the week that Caden Moody would possibly get a chance. But without further ado, let's go into this side. Of course, we've got Steven Kitsoff, Bongio Manami, Frans Malherbe, an incredibly strong front row, one that has proven over and over again that they can do the job. They even seem to be able to mix and match quite well together between them and the rest of the front row replacements. So no real surprises there. Eben Etzebeth and Franco Mostert retain their starting positions, and they have been immense together, a combination that is well settled by now and one that will do very, very well for sure. Sia Khaleesi, of course, is Captain Fantastic, Peter Steph Toy, and Dwayne Vermeulen. There was, again, some talk about possibly Dwayne Vermeulen possibly getting a break, maybe coming off the bench, and Jasper Wiese returning to the starting lineup. But they've retained their faith in Dwayne as the player to make the big calls in the big moments. And really, there's no real surprises there. I think that most of South Africa has incredible faith in what Dwayne is able to produce and his leadership ability. What is the major talking point, of course, for me, would look to be this Handré Pollard discussion that he was possibly going to come into that starting lineup again for Manie Libbok, and also for Kobus Reinach to come off again, and maybe Faf de Klerk to come back on and retain his position. We know that Faf-Pollard combination has worked well for a very long time, and so there was an argument to be made there. But faith has been retained in Kobus Reinach, which is, to me, the biggest surprise coming out of this team announcement. The experiment didn't necessarily pay off, I felt, going into that last game. But nevertheless, it wasn't a terrible performance from Kobus Reinach. And we know that he has explosive ability, and I'm sure that he will certainly reward the coaching staff for their faith in him. Manie Libbok has shown some improvements again in his kicking department, and he has retained his starting position. His ability to game break, his ability to lead that backline in creativity and in attack, in especially, has again been rewarded. Your two wings are Cheslin Colby and Kurtley Orense. Kurtley Orense, there was some discussion about him possibly making way for Caden Moody. Caden Moody, of course, with the additional height and maybe some physicality there against some rather tall and rather big boys in that England backline, a very physical backline. And so I think that Rusty had planted that seed, possibly to maybe just throw off the English a little bit. But Kurtley Orense is phenomenal. He's able to really facilitate some creativity in that backline. He's very good under the high ball, and his defense certainly doesn't leave anything wanting. So again, no real surprises there. Damien Delendi and Jesse Creel retain their spots in the starting lineup as well. Jesse Creel had a phenomenal game at outside centre in that quarterfinal, and to be honest, he's been fantastic throughout this tournament. It's been one of the most interesting developments to come out of this World Cup is that going into Jesse Creel seems to be on the receiving end of quite a lot of hate and quite a lot of queries over his ability to perform in that 13 role, from myself included. But he has shown everyone that he does deserve his spot there. He is able to be creative. He is able to do all aspects of the game well. And so, again, he has retained that spot. Damian Willemse, again, at fullback, he has been phenomenal throughout this tournament, and I expect him to do the job here again. On your bench, you've got Dion Fourie, Oxen Chair, Vincent Koch. As we went into that quarterfinal before, we obviously saw that Vincent Koch was also a bit of a surprise inclusion ahead of Trevor Nyakane, who Trevor is really phenomenal in the scrums, and he has the ability to game break by winning you a lot of scrum penalties, and he is very physical. Vincent, while no mug in the scrummaging department himself, perhaps doesn't have that same sort of game-breaking ability. But nonetheless, he is there, and we will see whether that comes back to haunt them. I don't think it will. I think that, again, these front rows for the Springboks are so good and so interchangeable that they can slot into the system and do the job that is required of them. Deon Fourie, of course, retains his spot as well. He has been phenomenal throughout this tournament. Really, really fantastic. And I expect him to not only win all of our set pieces, but to also bring a bit of mobility around the park and some ball stealing ability late into the game. Archie Snyman, Kwagga Smith, and of course Faf de Klerk, or we'll get to Faf in a moment, but Archie and Kwagga has been one of the players of the tournament for me. I think that if he was in the starting lineups and turning out the performances he had, he would certainly be in contention for that title. Faf de Klerk, of course, Handré Pollard, and of course Billy Leroux. Now, it's been quite amazing to see that they've reverted back to this 5-3 and have caught once again everyone by surprise. With the conditions forecasting a very wet game, there was some discussion about whether the Boks would revert to a 6-2 split, possibly ensuring that the forwards are there bullying up front when the game can't be as expansive in those terrible conditions. But they've backed the same split before, and they've done it again now. So I expect to see Faf de Klerk and Handré Pollard come in around that 55, sort of 60 mark, possibly this time around. I don't think they'll be on much earlier than that, and I don't think that it's a crutch for those starting boys. I think that they simply complement a late style or late gameplay where the game gets very tight, and Handré in particular is very good in those pressure situations. Billy Leroux also included. There's a little bit of a surprise for me. I'm not too sure what the thinking was behind that, but nonetheless, Billy has been phenomenal in the past with his try assists and his ability to break a game. So perhaps he has been brought in for exactly that, should it be required if the Springboks are for some reason playing catch up in those latter stages. So that is your Springbok starting lineup for the semi-final. It is incredible. We will soon be hosting a reaction video. If you see this before or after, please go check that as well. And thank you to our sponsors in BITDEFENDER and BOYLESPORTS. We look forward to the semi-final. We look forward to our coverage of it. We hope that you will join us. Please do like and subscribe to the channel and on this video. And once again, we will see you again very, very soon. Cheers for now.